Stop. Don't scroll. Yes, you pause for just a few seconds, because what you're about to hear is not random. You didn't find this message by accident, not luck, not coincidence, not even the algorithm. Something in you was led here. And if you're honest, a part of you already knows that. There has been this quiet feeling inside you lately. Something you can't explain. A sense that something is shifting, something is about to be revealed. You tried to ignore it. You told yourself it's just stress, just overthinking. But it's not. This moment was set for you. Out of millions of videos, out of endless noise, you landed here right now. That's not chance. That's timing. So don't rush. Don't skip. Because what comes next might finally explain why your life has never felt like everyone else's. You've felt it for a long time, haven't you? That quiet distance between you and everyone else. Even when you're surrounded by people, laughing, talking, doing everything you're supposed to do, there's still a part of you that feels separate. Like you're there, but not really there. Like you're watching your own life from the outside. You've tried to ignore it. You've tried to fit in, to think like them, act like them, want the things they want. But no matter how hard you try, something always feels off. Conversations feel shallow. Connections feel temporary. The things that excite others don't fully reach you. And deep down, you've asked yourself a question you've never said out loud. Why do I feel so different? Not better, not worse, just different. You notice things others don't. You feel things more deeply. You pick up on energies, moods, shifts, things people can't explain or don't even see. And sometimes it's overwhelming, because no one really understands it. And when you try to explain it, it sounds strange, even to you. So you stay quiet. You carry it alone. But here's the truth you've always known. Even if you never had the words for it, you were never meant to fully belong to the patterns of this world. That feeling in your chest, that subtle discomfort you can't shake. It's not confusion, it's recognition. A quiet, persistent knowing that something about this life, this reality, has never fully made sense to you. And no matter how much time passes, that feeling never truly goes away. And this is the part you've been waiting for, even if you didn't realize it. Because the truth is, you are not like the others. You've tried to convince yourself that you are. You've tried to blend in, to normalize the way you think, the way you feel, the way you see the world. But deep down, you've always known that you don't experience life the way most people do. And that's not a flaw. That's a sign. There is a reason why your mind goes deeper, why your heart feels heavier, why your awareness stretches beyond what others are comfortable with. There is a reason why you question things others blindly accept, why you sense shifts before they happen, why you feel pulled towards something, even when you don't know what it is. Because you weren't meant to live on autopilot. You weren't meant to follow the crowd. You weren't meant to stay asleep. You were meant to notice, to feel, to awaken. And whether you've called it intuition, sensitivity, or just being too much, the truth is, it's something far more intentional than that. You've been marked by difference your entire life, not randomly, not unfairly, but purposefully. There were moments when people didn't understand you, when they misread you, rejected you, or even distanced themselves from you. And you wondered if something was wrong with you. But what if those moments weren't rejection? What if they were redirection? What if the very thing that made you feel isolated is the same thing that sets you apart? Because here's the truth most people never hear. Not everyone is meant to walk the same path. Some are called to observe, some are called to follow, but a few are called to awaken first. And if you've made it this far, if something in these words is stirring something deep inside you, then you already know which one you are. You are not here by accident. Out of billions of people, with countless lives unfolding at the same time, your story carries a different weight, a different rhythm, a different direction. There is a reason your journey has never been simple. There is a reason your path has felt set apart, because you were never just reacting to life. You were being positioned within it. Everything you've experienced, every moment of confusion, every question that kept you up at night, every time you felt like you didn't quite fit anywhere, has been quietly shaping something within you. Something that cannot be rushed. Something that cannot be copied. Something that cannot be ignored forever. You may not have understood it then, but you're starting to feel it now. That pull, that clarity, that undeniable sense that your life is not random, that there is something more, and somehow you are connected to it. You don't need someone to convince you, because a part of you has always known. You were never meant to be just another voice in the noise. You were meant to hear something others can't, to see something others miss, to become aware before the rest even realize there is something to awaken from. And that's why your life has unfolded the way it has. Not to confuse you, not to break you, but to bring you here, to this exact moment, where you can finally begin to understand who you are. And now, everything you've been through starts to make sense. All the loneliness you carried for years, it was never meant to break you. It was preparing you to stand on your own, to think for yourself, to discover a strength that only grows in silence. Those moments when you felt left out, unseen, like no one truly chose you. That wasn't rejection the way you thought. That was protection. Protection from people, places, and paths that were never meant to hold your future. And the pain, the kind that stayed with you, the kind that made you question everything, that wasn't punishment, that was refinement. Every struggle, every setback, every time you felt like you were falling apart, something inside you was actually being built. Quietly, deeply, intentionally. Even your sensitivity, the way you feel everything so intensely. You thought it made you weak, but it didn't. It made you aware. It made you capable of seeing truth where others only see surface. And those attacks, the confusion, the doubt, the moments where everything seemed to go wrong at once, those weren't random either. They were confirmation. Confirmation that there is something in you worth resisting, something powerful enough to be challenged. When you look back now, you can start to see it, can't you? The pattern. Nothing you went through was meaningless. It was all shaping you into someone who could carry more, understand more, and become more. And maybe, for the first time, it finally feels like it all fits together. And this is the moment where everything shifts. Because what you thought was you falling apart was never a breakdown, it was a breakthrough. All those days when your mind felt overwhelmed, when your emotions felt too heavy, when nothing seemed to make sense anymore. That wasn't you losing control, that was you waking up. Waking up to patterns you could no longer ignore, waking up to truths you could no longer unsee, waking up to a version of yourself that refuses to go back to who you used to be. That discomfort you've been feeling, that tension inside your chest, that quiet urge telling you something has to change. That's not anxiety, that's awareness. For the first time, you're seeing clearly. And clarity doesn't always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it feels like everything is collapsing, because it is. The illusions you once believed in, the roles you once played, the version of life you thought you had to live, they're breaking apart, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. And suddenly, things that once confused you start to click. Why certain paths never worked, why certain people couldn't stay, why you kept feeling pulled in a different direction. It wasn't chaos. It was alignment trying to happen. You're not lost anymore. You're becoming aware. And that realization brings something you haven't felt in a long time. Relief. Because now you understand. Nothing was wrong with you. You were just waking up. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Something inside you begins to shift. You stop chasing spaces where you were never truly seen. You stop forcing connections that only made you feel smaller. You stop trying to belong in places that never felt like home. Because now you understand, not everyone is meant to understand you. Not every room is meant to hold you. And that's okay. You also stop blaming yourself for being too deep, too emotional, too different. You realize you were never too much. You were simply in the wrong environment. And for the first time, instead of shrinking, you begin to stand. Not loudly, not arrogantly, but truthfully. You start honoring what you feel instead of hiding it. You start trusting what you sense instead of doubting it. And slowly, quietly, you begin to take up the space you were always meant to exist in. And this is where it all leads. You didn't come here just to exist, just to survive, just to repeat what everyone else is doing. You came here to shift something, to bring light into places that feel heavy, to see truth where others stay asleep, to speak, to move, to live in a way that quietly wakes something up in others. You don't have to force it. It's already in you. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you question everything. That's how it begins. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to illuminate. And as you step into that, even slowly, people will feel it. Not because you're trying to change them, but because your presence reminds them that something more is possible. And if you're wondering why it has been so hard, this is why. It was never random. Every moment of doubt, every wave of confusion, every time things seemed to fall apart, right when you were getting closer to something greater, that wasn't coincidence. Pressure doesn't build around something empty. It builds around something valuable. And the truth is, something in you has always carried value. That's why you were tested. That's why you were pushed. That's why it felt like you had to fight just to stay steady. But look at you. You're still here. You didn't give up. You didn't disappear. You didn't lose yourself completely. You bent, but you didn't break. And that alone proves something powerful. Whatever is in you is stronger than what tried to stop you. So hear this clearly, one last time. You are not weak. You are not lost. You were never broken. You were becoming. Everything you felt, everything you questioned, everything that didn't make sense was leading you here, to this moment, to this realization. You are not falling apart. You are awakening. And now that you see it, now that you feel it, you can't go back to who you were. Because your life begins now.